The leadership that is coming into the planet now is the one that we have pretty much all been waiting for, but has taken a little bit of time to sink in, and all the vibrations that are coming in along with that, the light codes. And I was asking myself this morning, why is it that I'm getting all these leadership kind of thoughts? What is in it? I mean, we have had all these structures that we have created in um, with regard to leadership all these days and years. And this pattern has served us to an extent with the old energy system. So, what's the new energy system got to do with the leadership? The new energy system is asking for a thought leadership first. It's asking for a self-examination at an individual level more than a collective level. Self-examination of the individual, self-examination of their astrological perspective, if they want to go there and use that esoteric knowledge of themselves. And that's where the leadership first stems in from in this new energy. Leadership is not going to be about more of followership of even you listening to this podcast or from your own mind or reflections, because unless you step back from your own mind, it is going to be quite challenging for you to take this followership mentality and take it to a leadership level, because leadership here often means that we are going to, in this context, the leadership means taking ownership of your thought process in a way that is more intuitive, bringing in a new kind of thought structure, new kind of attitude, mental attitudes, new kind of knowing beyond the concepts of the mind is what is being triggered here. This is the path we are supposed to be individually walking on. That's the way it lands in me, folks. It's about individual not merging with the collective and yet being very centered in their own individuality. But we have to meet the collective from an individual point of view. Think of it that way. That's the simplest I'm getting. Meeting the collective with an individual point of view. So you're bringing a sort of uniqueness, if you will, into the collective forum, into the collective way the mind is thinking. So it's the individual adding to the collective and the collective feeding back its wisdom and learned knowledge back to the individual to take it to a new level. So this is the new leadership process we are talking about. And this is the way it came to me this morning. That's why all this talk of leadership, that's why all this talk of how you can take ownership of your own thought process first. Because how do you invite then new thought forms when all the mind is the repository of all the memories of the past? You have to learn to ask the question, folks. It's the question. Even me, even when I sit and reflect back, my mind is full of nothing except the past. But all I'm doing is asking the questions. Where is this going? Show me where this is going. Show me where this plays out. Show me a thread of meaning, a thread of applicability, a thread of how this is going to play out in a proper way, in a way that is more grounded. And yet, it makes sense if from an evolutionary point of view, because unless we as humans singularly evolve, there is no way the world, the collective will evolve. It all begins with the individual, as we know very well. So I was asking questions with respect to that. So I suggest you ask questions a lot. Question everything. This questioning will get you more into a place of understanding, understanding your own wisdom. Okay, so the wisdom has to come from within. Wisdom has to come from inside you, what you bring. The astrological charts, so to speak, that aspect of astrology can only take you so far. But you are not doomed to your astrology. You're not doomed to your own chart, and you're not fixed or imprisoned by your own astrological leanings, so to speak. You can go beyond that. There has always been that power. But how do you access that power is by the power of questioning. This is one good attribute we all have of the mind, the attribute of questioning things, but not questioning in a way you are wanting to answer with your mind, but rather questioning in a way that opens the mind, makes it a blank slate, and makes it a vessel of reception for receiving answers. You're here to receive answers. You're here to receive love. You're here to receive all the good energies that life can provide coming your way. So become more of a receptacle, become more of an empty vessel to receive this higher knowledge in whatever way it is relevant to your life. It can be any issue that you are dealing with. By the way, it can be some everyday stuff. In fact, most of us are looking for everyday answers. How do I resolve my job? Or how do I get more money for my business? Or how do I get this and that? Asking questions, pausing, and waiting for the answers to come. And where do these answers come from? It comes from the higher aspect of you. It's not coming from some god or some angel or anything of that kind. You are a part of everything, so everything sits and answers to you, to the creator that is asking for the next step. That is you. You are the creator. So that's the way it is landing in me, folks. Using the power of questioning, using that questioning to receive answers, and using those answers as a form of reflection, as a form of landing in your gut that says, yes, this answer makes sense for me today. And it's always today. It's never tomorrow or anything. You can always change your mind. You're free to change your mind a million times. But this is the way it's coming to me. Make it relevant, make it quick, make it smooth, make it easy, make it available to me right now. You can ask the questions and you can even ask the answers to be presented to you in a particular style that works for you. For example, some ascendants will be more heart-centered. They will want emotional answers to whatever is solutions they are seeking in their life. And so for them, an emotional answer will make more sense to implement because that's the way they are wired. Different people are wired differently. How you are wired, that's the way you want the answer quality to be, isn't it? So you will want to acknowledge this about yourself. That's why astrology plays a somewhat of a role in understanding how you are wired. What makes your neurons in your brain tick a certain way? It has an inherent bias to it. And that's the extent to which astrology will help. This is why I like to do personality readings, not so much as this is what your life is going to play out like. Because guess who's in charge of your life? You are. So that I cannot control. Nobody can control. Only you can control that. You are the navigator and the captain of your life. So you can only control which direction you want to steer your boat. However, all the clues that you will seek in terms of self-help, in terms of understanding yourself better, etc. You can use books, you can use workshops, you can use any of these great tools we have these days everywhere, and it's available all online. You can use them, but take this as the base if that helps you. So, understanding leadership here in this context is very crucial. You need to be your own thought leader, your own discernment leader. Use your discernment everywhere. It's getting sharpened a lot, even in the most unenlightened, if you want to call it that. I wouldn't go so far. But yeah, even in every other soul, it's being ignited as a powerful gut feeling, as a powerful intuition. This is how people are picking up, folks. And that's where we are heading. And that's where the new energies come in and play out very, very strongly, even in the most mundane of us as souls. So I feel like doing this, or I feel like I should change my career here, or I should feel I need to go to such and such a place. That's what's happening. And in a way, that's good. That's very good. Leadership of thought, and thought as in receiving thoughts and answers and solutions, which are pragmatic to your life, pragmatic to your daily living, pragmatic to whatever it is that you're trying to search for. Search for what? Search that brings you joy, a search that brings you contentment, a search that lands in your body saying, yes, I know this for a fact. Yes, I know this makes sense. Yes, this feels right to me. Yes, I know where I should be headed now. In the next week, in the next month, maybe a couple of years. But don't make up your mind what it's going to play out like, because mind likes to have everything under control. Mind is a control freak. Everyone's mind, mine included. So don't depend upon the control freak called mind who wants to control all the starting and end point and everything in between. I need to do this and I need to do that and then this and that. No, unfolding and taking your steps in an intuitive way is where it's going to evolve. Now, in the beginning, I must warn you that this will take a lot of practice. It has taken me a lot of practice to get there. So, mind, because it wants to control every step of the way, it will feel like you need to control every step of whatever you're doing. But intuition doesn't work that way. Intuition happens in a very lateral sense, in a multidimensional sense. When I say multidimensional, I mean in all directions. One area of your life you're thinking, and suddenly you'll get solutions to another area of your life while you're taking care of this one area of life. Let's say you're thinking about a job. Suddenly you'll get solutions that, this is the same approach I need to take while I'm doing my artwork or painting. Or if you're doing your artwork and painting and you're playing with certain colors on canvas or something like that, you get a certain music you want to listen to at that time. And you go to that certain music, or you listen to some channeling or something like that. And then you tune into that. And then you go for that. So you might be finding yourself doing completely random things as a result of accessing your own multidimensionality. It's always been there. But when you start tapping into it, this is what starts happening with you, for you. Think of it just as you. Don't be spooked by any of this. Think of it just as you in a higher level of functioning where you can function in multiple ways. Multiple solutions are revealed to you in multiple directions and multiple areas of your life. Everything becomes multiple. Nothing becomes singular anymore. Only the mind wants to make it singular because it wants to be in control. Okay, folks, so just understand your own multidimensionality, how it plays out, but it all begins with your own individual thought leadership. I'll leave you with this much. Take care, be safe, and be awesome wherever you are.